What's going on, Pat?
Man, so much going on. Since our first taping on the Trayvon Martin tragedy in South Florida, things are beginning to jump off. You've got some more information. What is going on with this whole situation?
It's only been 2 weeks. All the information that's been coming out has only been 2 weeks. Okay, and I've been writing down some short notes regarding this.
Okay,
there's tons of stuff. But what you were telling me before, that the link you sent me about the 3 closed arrests.
Yeah.
They revised that. At the bottom, if you look at the bottom, it's really 1 arrest. There's 3 incidents. Okay? Police decided they were going to arrest him once, and that was for the shoving of an officer. It was the police officer that got shoved. He got into a bar fight one night. He's a constant, what you call
get the beer muscles.
Okay, that's a good way. That's way for it. He's got beer muscles. Okay. Some of you might call it tiger blood or whatever. He's not using his tiger blood now because he's in hiding. But alcohol officers, I think they're called alcohol agents. They're state alcohol agents.
Okay.
And he's a college student at the time. Okay, a few years ago. They see how he's behaving. They walk up to him and like, hey, don't you think you should, chill out? And he starts shoving them.
Wow.
Okay, that's where he gets into, he gets into trouble. Then I don't think they arrest him, but they also pursue a friend of his. There's another incident where police they're getting ready to arrest a friend of his. Okay, it's like, say for example, if you're talking to somebody, cop comes up and if there's a warrant on this guy, don't mess with him. Okay, especially don't push the cop.
Right.
He pushes the cop. Okay, then he gets verbally abusive. Okay, oh yeah. So this guy is nothing but a big spoiled milksop of an attitude problem. All right. Then this is not counting the domestic abuse. All right, and assaults on women, more than one. Okay, he got drunk one time. This is the people at work. Some of the people he works with have been giving up information.
So you're telling me that George Zimmerman has a history of documented violent behavior?
Yeah, violent behavior. That's part of the reason they fired him. Okay, from one place of work. Matter of fact, they said he was some woman. They were arguing with a female one day. And this woman, she was just she was hollering and screaming, whatever. They said George goes off on her. What they say about George is that he is a Jekyll and Hyde personality. There are times he's very congenial, very quiet, very easy to get along. Then all of a sudden, Mr. Hyde comes out. Snaps. Okay? He picks this woman up and tosses her, throws her. She lands on the ground and breaks her ankle. Okay? So this is all documented stuff. Another woman, I think his wife or girlfriend, whatever, put a restraining order on her. Okay? Calls the police. So, George, these are consistent patterns. All these people here that are coming out saying that George would never do these things. And, you see that silhouette of his father, okay, saying, my son would never follow somebody. Okay, well, how is it that your son followed somebody and that person ends up dead? Okay, so, George is a problem.
George is a sick person.
Yes.
Now, is there any truthness that his father was a judge? Is that true, or is that he was a judge?
Yeah, he was a judge, high-ranking magistrate, I guess. May have been on the Florida Supreme Court.
So possibly some of his behaviors were sealed and never came out.
That's the suspicion. That his father had been covering for him for years and years. All right, George thinks that he has a heads up for us police. Somewhere along the line, George told himself, I should be a police officer. Okay. Now, you got to admit, there's a lot of attitude problems on the police force.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of officers that have no business on the job.
Right. They're there. You know that yourself. Yes. You're a cop, so you know this.
But the frustrated ones that can't get on the job are the George Zimmermans.
They're the George
have no business in a neighborhood watch.
And it's a blessing. You don't give them uniform
with a weapon.
Right.
Why? Why would I? I'm mystified with this, Chris. If you're supposed to be watching, if something happens, you're supposed to call the police.
That's right.
This man took action, unauthorized action, no matter what Florida statutes they can point to. He was told by a legal agency not to pursue Trayvon Martin. He was told not to.
He was told. And they're trying to say, because the exact quote was, okay, you don't need to be doing that. So they're trying to say that's not an order. Yes, it is an order. That's like, say, for example, you can get pulled over one day and the cop can say, okay, you don't have to drive too fast. You know it's kind of slippery out there. What is he really telling you?
I don't understand.
He's saying don't drive too fast.
Too fast.
That's it. Okay? So, in other words, George was told specifically, after he admitted that he was following this kid himself.
Right.
They said, okay, you don't have to do it. Are you following him? Okay, you don't have to do that. All right? Now, another point of this tape. This is George's own words. They say, what's he wearing? George's next words. I think he's black. No, he looks black. I'm like, okay, so what he's wearing? They asked you what he's wearing. They didn't ask you they didn't get to race yet. Okay, they say, what is he wearing? I think he's black. So George is basically telling him he's wearing black skin. Come get him. You guys know what the drill is.
Chris, one of the things I found most troubling with this, that this incident occurred February 27th, was 26th, February 26th. The police, when you have a murder, you're supposed to target the immediate area to prove or not prove. Why weren't some of the
that area becomes a tape area, chalk outlines, everything. The police spend hours.
Why were some of the critical witnesses not talked to a week or two after the event happened?
They weren't pursued.
There's some real troubling.
Yeah.
And I'm not, a lot of people get into conspiracies, and I study conspiracies too. But there's some mismanagement that is unexplainable. Beyond George Zimmerman being a nut. Well, I think that's a given at this point. Because all evidence says you killed an unarmed young man with a bag of Skittles and a can of iced tea. And you provoked any physical confrontation was provoked by your unsolicited action.
That's right.
So it's a given that George Zimmerman's got issues.
Yeah.
And had no business. His action was inappropriate and led to the death of an innocent young man. And he's claiming self-defense. I have yet to see anything that warranted self-defense. You pursued him. He did not pursue you. You followed him. If someone follows you, what are you going to do, Chris?
You're going to turn around and ask them why you followed.
Yes.
You're going to make sure. Maybe they weren't following. That's the whole thing. There are times I look like some people might think I'm following.
Do you have a problem?
You know what I'm saying?
Is there an issue?
Exactly.
This guy had a problem. And he was armed. Now, Article 35 in New York State is the use of deadly physical force. I cannot speak towards Florida.
Right.
But usually it's pretty general. You meet a threat with a given threat. You see, and you try to escalate your intervention based on the threat against you. You had a weapon. You provoked this whole action.
No. He says poor George says he's a victim.
I don't understand how he's not arrested. Because arrest does not mean conviction.
Yeah.
Arrest means you process him, you charge him, and the court makes a decision. He has yet to be arrested, and we're a month past
Yeah.
the definition.
Yeah. How much does George weigh?
He's double the weight of.
He's double the
Trayvon.
weight. Now think about it. Trayvon is only
250?
250, something like that. Trayvon is 140 pounds.
So this
Just
guy's
called-
280.
he's lanky. He's like JJ. Okay, perfect description. 6'3", 6'2", something like that. 140 pounds. George, roughly your size. How much do you weigh?
I don't weigh no 250. Get out of here.
So he weighs more than you did.
Yes.
And think about this now. Think about this, because I think he was claimed that this kid jumped on top of him. Not only broke his nose, was beating him pretty good. Rammed his head into the grass. Very traumatic experience for George.
Right.
All right. At some point, George manages throughout this beating to get his gun. Okay. They say he held his gun in his pants, but okay, inside of his pants. You know what I'm saying? And shoots this kid, which I don't think would have happened. I think George had the gun in his hand. Okay,
but he's never mentioned. The 9/11 tape says he looks like he's up to no good. That's not a reasonable.
No, that's not.
Action.
That's an abstract statement.
Yeah.
There's a lot of abstract statements he makes.
What did he do
He
caused you
mentions
to
the word
confront?
drugs. He mentions the word black. Up to no good. Okay. And for the record, if you look at George's voice, it sounds kind of broken. It sounds like he might be on some drugs or something himself. Okay, or maybe had a few beers too many.
Drinking at local.
Yeah, which explains why he was not given a toxicology test. Excuse me. So, but he's up there identifying. He's trying to mark this kid and trying to give you a blow by blow to justify himself as to why he's following this kid. All right, and so he gives a lot of abstract statements, and the next thing you know, there's silence. It's believed he was shot twice. He shot the kid twice
in someone's backyard.
Yeah.
Okay, why wasn't that person interviewed that lived there until
her name, yeah.
How much later?
Her name is Mary Kutcher. She had to pursue them. She's been pursuing the media and the police.
They didn't want to talk.
No, I mean, who ever heard of this? Think about this. Black man shot. Police running away from. Oh no, that's okay. That's all right. You don't have to.
George contributed to any campaigns that you found out?
Is
there any unsolicited dollars associated?
That I'm going to find out. I think a lot of things. I think a lot of the contributions and everything probably has to do with maybe his father's election or re-election campaign or whatever the case may be, or cases. You know what I'm saying? Judges and police have relationships. Just like police and hospitals and doctors have relationships. A lot of things go under. I can't say anything right now for definite.
It's strange. I am baffled at a case, and I think this is what draws on the anger of the community, is the lack of compassion towards the loss of an innocent human life, and that there's been no action by the so-called criminal justice system.
Yes.
Whereas the right thing to do would have been to immediately arrest him and let the court determine whether or not he is innocent or guilty.
Yeah.
And that has not been done. The lead investigator said he didn't believe George Zimmerman. Am I correct?
That's right.
I don't understand. I'm baffled.
That's right. He wanted to arrest George. He said, let's.
Somebody
maybe you don't want
him not to. Who told him not to?
The state attorney's office.
The state attorney's office.
This guy's name is.
He was the one that was relieved.
Wolfinger.
Yeah, he was relieved.
Yeah, he was relieved or voluntarily stepped down, whatever the case may be, as was Billy Lee.
Does he have a connection to George's father? I mean, this doesn't make any sense.
Well, he's essentially a DA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These guys have lunch together.
I don't.
All right.
I don't get this. This is more than trouble. this is enough that could start something worse
Don't forget the two
than the
blacks.
Rodney King situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't forget the black manager, black city manager, Norton Bonaparte.
What is wrong with him?
I don't know. You know, he could have got the whole thing. He could have got the whole ball rolling.
Why they going to appoint a brother in the interim? Can you explain that? I would have wanted no parts of this. I was like, let's talk about this after this case. I wouldn't have taken the gig.
No. I think they appointed a female to replace the state attorney. Right. I don't know. It may have been a black female.
She's a Republican. No,
it's white.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a Republican.
All right. But what I've been hearing, she stopped all the leaks, the leaks that were coming out.
Right.
And she says, hey, listen, we got to look first before anybody knows anything else. Okay. But what's going on? I think certain officers want to clear the department. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's why part of the reason why the leaks came out, because they were saying, especially that the one film, the video that shows Zimmerman getting out of the car.
He's in cuffs.
Looks like he's ready to go. Almost looks like he's good enough to go to church.
It's time to start processing.
Yeah, you know, I didn't. No blood, no visible wounds or scratches or no ruffled jacket or anything.
Okay, I give you. You've done a lot of research, Chris, with what has happened.
Mm-hmm.
Of those of you that are looking around the country, we've had a significant amount of problems at the Erie County Holding Center in which prisoners are dying and are being untreated, are being mistreated in those facilities after being arrested. If George Zimmerman, I'm troubled that if you brought a person in that is in need of medical attention, the first thing you do is take him to get the medical attention,
sure,
and then you bring him back.
Right.
I didn't see that being done at all.
Yeah.
If he was that bad.
No. You hear about instances where blacks might get beat up.
Could we get the sound of that video? Because I believe this. I just want to pretend what it's saying. Boy, you sure did get beat up. But you know.
I don't think that.
No,
I don't think they're saying that.
He didn't look that bad.
They were probably talking about something completely unrelated.
Yeah.
You know, how's your dad doing? Oh, so and so. Oh, he's doing all right. Blah blah blah.
We're gonna get you in and out of here, George.
Yep.
We got you. I got you. We're gonna take care of this.
We're gonna take care of this.
Don't worry about it. And that's the part that is troubling when you have such a disregard for human life that a 17-year-old who had a lot of promise, who somebody's son was killed over a bag of Skittles and a can of iced tea because of what you perceive as a threat.
Yeah. Number one, that shows you that a couple of things about that. That tells you how insecure too many white Americans are regarding blacks.
Right.
Okay? And I've read a lot of really good essays written by people, not just the ones who write for my blog, but other people. And they were really breaking things down, how a lot of times when white people look at a black person, even if they look at one person, they see 10. You understand what I'm saying? You know, even if it doesn't matter if he's wearing a hoodie, that could be wearing a Brooks Brothers suit.
Right.
They're looking at a threat. Okay? And that's how they react. And I notice how, I don't know, what's that one story? I'm trying to get the name of it. It's a movie out or something like that. And it was, I can't get the name of what that movie was. The Hunger Game, I think it was.
Yeah, The Hunger Game just came out.
Hunger Game came out and it has a black female character. Her name is Ruth. I guess she died in the movie or whatever. Mm-hmm. And there were people who blogged that, a lot of white people, they thought that they really wanted her character to be white. Now, that character, I guess in the novel, she was black right from the beginning, even in the novel.
Right.
Okay? Authors said another character guy were dark brown. All right? That should give you a hint. Okay? They went to the movie expecting her character to be black. When her character died, they said, I wish she was white. That way I could really sympathize with her death. You understand? So the Trayvon situation comes at a time when it's being revealed that the nation really isn't comfortable dealing with black people in 2012.
Yeah.
All right, and we've seen that with the Obamas. Okay,
it's horrible.
Yeah, you know, you look on my page on point. You go to Point Blank, Chris Stevenson on Facebook. You'll see Louis Farrakhan breaking down the situation.
Right.
You know, he talks about all the heckling and the ridicule
from Democrats too.
From Democrats and Republicans. You know, the monkey pictures and the emails.
Comparison to Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
Obama.
Putting a Hitler mustache on them and whatever.
Is there really, with the election of Barack Obama, there was an attempt to say that color doesn't matter anymore? Right. But have we yet found out with what happened with President Obama, Chris, and the Trayvon Martin tragedy, that race is still the central issue of this country?
Matter of fact, I think those situations are smoking out
and
the facts that
right,
it's getting worse.
That the relationship with black and white is rapidly deteriorating worse than what people really think.
Yeah, and you know, we don't want the show to be, about white, or quote unquote, but it's not blacks that are doing this.
No.
Blacks are a danger to themselves. There are a lot of blacks killing blacks.
Right.
Yes, but there are no black instigators or whatever that's trying to start something with whites. You understand what I'm saying? They're white people know, and one guy wrote a column this week. He brought it. He said, "I'm not in danger." He said, "Regardless of what I wear, I'm not in danger."
No.
You know what I'm saying? The white people know that they don't have to worry about us.
No.
Okay? Only the really, really fringe, the real nutcases on the fringe really fear blacks. Okay? So, yeah, here it is in 2012. It's still an issue. Black and white. Race is still an issue, and when you talk race, it's in this country, it's black and white. It's sad to say that it still is. And it's not necessarily black criminals that are the case, or black incompetent people, or whatever. When you talk about the president, who are you talking about? Okay?
There is some culturally ignorant, I call it culturally ignorance, that fuels unsolicited racism. Mm-hmm. That we have white Americans that no longer are in touch with the fact that they are still racist.
Right.
They think they can't identify culturally with the feelings of other groups, be it Asian, be it people from India, be it Africans that live here in America or African Americans. Mm-hmm. Cultural ignorance is major, and it's fueling a new system of racism, not an old system of racism. Old racism was just out front, or it was the hidden racism, or that hidden operative racism, or this racism is fueled by a lack of cultural identification. Like there's a subculture that likes hoodies. You perceive it as a threat. Because of your overzealous behavior, and you've been allowed to be put in a position that you grossly are unqualified for. And this is a neighborhood watch program.
That's right. We're now getting shot by neighborhood watchmen.
Something's wrong.
Okay. Something's terribly wrong. Something is drastically wrong.
And when the criminal justice system had an opportunity to do the right thing, it once again reverted to what it did in the 60s, and that a black life does not matter. So this man should not be arrested.
So what they're trying to do, they're trying to get back to old racism. Okay, like what you may reference. It's new, but it's trying to work its way back. Okay, on one side you got people trying to turn back the clock, like you mentioned earlier, on things that Obama accomplished. Mm-hmm. On the other side, you got these other whites who are saying, let's keep shooting the common blacks. Okay, so we're kind of getting it from both sides. All right, So it's kind of like a silent genocide going on, and it's not like we need it. We got problems within our own community with high crime and everything. But, you know, these people aren't satisfied.
It's scary. Why are we still fighting these same battles? I thought we had moved past some of these battles.
Yeah.
But now it's a new frontier.
Yep.
Now we're fighting the neighborhood watch program. What's next, Chris?
I'll tell you what's next. We haven't talked about the Castle Doctrine, the law that gave birth to Stand Your Ground, or in some states it's called Make My Day, or Shoot First, or whatever. Okay, there's a group called ALEC, ALEC. All right, well, these are a bunch of conservatives that have pushed that law, a packaged version of that law around the country, and 16 states have a law similar to that. It's because of them.
Including New York has legislation by who is it, Messerich?
Yes. Yes.
They were trying he was trying to pass legislation on the Stand Your Ground law in New York State.
Oh yeah. These guys are they're the American legislative exchange council or something along those lines. They're a bunch of radicals. They're representative of the Coke industry, the Koch brothers, Walmart, other the NRA, of course, okay, other elements of corporate America. You know, this is partly what pulled the trigger.
Aren't these the Tea Partiers too?
Most likely.
I mean, how can you make an argument about healthcare? It's the most ignorant argument I've ever heard.
Oh yeah.
It's ignorant and it's fueled by greed and ignorance.
These people would make an argument if Jesus Christ came back and resurrected the dead.
I've never
or cured
I've
AIDS.
never seen
it's
anything like
willful
this.
obstinacy, okay, stubbornness, and we're gonna put everything this guy does, this black president does, in a bad light, so that we can get a white man, as Farrakhan said, any white man,
anyone
will do.
But my passion with this is so. We've done shows on this and dealing with race, and especially healthcare. That universal healthcare already exists. If you go to a hospital, you will be treated. The problem is who pays for it.
Right.
We that have insurance, our premiums are going to go up.
Yep.
If they repeal healthcare. And you got people out here talking about you're interfering in my liberty.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't even notice it on their page.
No,
they're pretending they they got a stake in it. Yeah, it's everybody contributes. Yes, but they've been made brainwashed, so to speak, to take it personally.
It's Chris, I have never in my life seen a country react in a subtle racist manner as I've seen since President Obama was elected and when he was running. It has captivated a newfound racism in this country that is subtly, they use code words, they use legislation, urban policy, and all of that ties into Trayvon Martin and the way that they handle it. This is a newfound attack on black America that has to be dealt with.
Yeah. And it's an attack, it's racism that won't admit it's racist.
Yeah.
That's the funny part about it.
This is my liberty.
This is racism.
What gets me, didn't we just get out of the Bush administration and the Patriot Act?
There you go.
Your liberty was handed to the government by who you're telling us are who you support.
Wiretaps and everything. What came out of that? TV. You were forced to change what kind of TV you looked at.
I am mystified. Bush did all of this, right? Him and Cheney took away all your liberty to protect you, but they found nobody.
There was no Tea Party that formed.
Obama's the only one that's kept you safe. Really kept you safe.
Oh yeah. Not only that, you seen Obama kill this country's enemies basically with your bare eyes. Watch it on TV. Okay?
Ass Osama.
Oh, it's ass Osama. Okay.
You know?
He has taken down some of the top terrorists. A lot of them are household names, but he has taken them down. He has droned several of them.
Taking them out.
Taking them out. Okay, their names, those names were on the list since the Bush years. Obama's crossed those names out. Okay, but now then you turn around and say, oh, he killed the one out of the tribe. Oh, so now you're an activist. Now you're a peacenik.
Yeah.
Before, during Bush, you were a redneck conservative blowhard. Now you're a peacenik.
And he got you out of Iraq. And that is the prime example of one of the biggest crimes. Bush should be brought on charges for instituting that war.
Yeah.
You said this guy was a threat. You supplied him with all his weapons. You took his weapons away from him.
Yep.
He had nothing to do with these 9/11 attacks. He didn't even like the terrorists. He didn't allow them in the country.
No, he didn't.
You took him down, lost your best soldiers, sent the country into chaos, and basically it was so Halliburton could have no big contracts over it. Almost 8 years.
That's right. That's right. Those no bid contracts.
Wicked people.
You know. Oh yeah, that's pure. That's evil and
Wicked.
pure.
When are we going to start? We have really got to start studying the strategic makeup of how certain policies, especially laws, that should have never not been unchallenged. The laws stand your ground. You should have been marching on that before Trayvon was killed. You should have recognized it long before that this law is going to lead to your death.
Nobody saw it coming. That's the law that really pulled the trigger on Trayvon.
That is the law.
That's it. That's the law that kept the handcuffs from going on. At least they're trying to tell us, okay? From going on. But you know what I'm saying? If it weren't around, it would have been an issue.
That's what I'm saying.
You have to arrest him.
But Chris, if it was not for Trayvon Martin,
we would
not know about these other legislations that they're trying to enact around the state.
Listen, I've been saying for years that the right are tireless. They don't go to sleep. They don't sleep. They meet together and they work things out and they do these little covert things right under our noses. And we are too busy. It's not just the Trayvon thing. We are too busy watching Basketball Wives. We're too busy watching Bad Girls Club. We're too busy watching Mobster Wives and Desperate Housewives of
that does
Hoboken.
not affect public policy.
It doesn't affect public policy. We want to see who's going to win on X Factor or who wants to dance, who wants to grin,
Watch.
who wants to shuck and jive.
This video will get 250 to 500 hits. The video about Shaniqua and Billy Ray will get 500,000.
500,000, exactly.
And we're talking about life or death, public policy. We're not strategically thinking, Chris. And until we do as a people and realize, I was watching Governor Rendell from Pennsylvania. He vetoed the Stand Your Ground law. When he left office, the governor in office now immediately put it back in, and Pennsylvania has Stand Your Ground law.
That wouldn't if Rendell, that tells you something. If Rendell thinks it's a danger, Rendell is Mr. Death Penalty. Okay, I love the death penalty. All right, if he vetoed that law, there's got to be something wrong with it. Think about this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Rendell, as a DA, put more people, probably more blacks, on the death row than maybe the old South during the lynching days.
And he vetoed.
Okay, yes. So he's saying, no, this is immoral. I can't do this.
George Maziarz feels so threatened in New York that he is proposing a Stand Your Ground legislation here in New York State. If it was not for Trayvon Martin, it probably would pass.
And New York State's a much safer state.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a liberal state.
Yeah, exactly. So, what you're dealing with these laws is the personal insecurity of one individual, usually white, usually born in the suburbs, who walks outside with preconceived ideas of black people who aren't paying him any mind. That's all it is. That's the guy that's going to make your next law. The old scared white guy. Okay?
Well,
And you won't know it. You won't see it coming.
Blacks do more harm to themselves than they do anybody else.
Yes.
I don't know of any whites, any blacks that are going out killing 20 people, shooting 20 people, those types of action.
No.
I think we got to study this more. We're going to study it more on the network. We're about out of time this week's installment. But obviously, the research that Chris has brought before us today dealing with the Trayvon Martin case, he has spearheaded it from the beginning. He was one of the first people that dealt with the Trayvon Martin tragedy, and that was a week after it happened. And that's the scary thing. A week after this tragedy happened, and really it took almost 2 weeks after it happened for people to really start talking about it. And to get this police agency basically got off scot-free without doing a proper investigation.
It was a complete shutdown of an entire police precinct.
It's awful. This is awful.
Yeah.
But hey, we're out of time. I want to thank Chris Stevenson. Go to his blog, Buffalo Bullet. How can people get on that blog, Chris?
TheBuffaloBullet.com. TheBuffaloBullet.com. You can hit me on Facebook also, PointBlank009. It's the same thing for Facebook, PointBlank009/Chris Stevenson. The same with Pat Freeman's Twitter account, @FreeMaj. Hit us up.
We're all over the place. Ustream, Twitter, Facebook.
Ustream.
Let's talk about it. Let's start getting some hits about public policy and stop talking about Shaniqua and Ray Ray.
Thank you.
Let's deal with public policy and help improve our communities in this nation. We'll be back next week right here on the network. That's all for me. I'm Pat Freeman and my man, Chris Stevenson.